Peace, y'all. How to use astral power, key to a new miraculous life. We're on chapter 12. But real quick, I wanted to do page 29 with everyone. Now remember to imagine pictures as well as images, as well as words when you're doing this. Continuing now and for days and years to come.
Continuing now for days and years to come.
I am moving towards my cherished goals.
I am moving towards my cherished goals.
My life is becoming rich with happiness.
My life is becoming rich with happiness.
A better economic condition and full contentment.
Better economic condition and full contentment.
Every action, enterprise, or endeavor
Every action, enterprise, or endeavor
in which I wish to be involved
is
bringing increasing rewards. Life is making its joys and happiness easier to come by.
Life is making its joys and happiness easier to come by.
Good fortune is coming my way more and more frequently.
Good fortunes are coming my way more and more frequently.
I'm learning how to share my good fortune by helping others along the way.
I'm learning how to share my good fortunes by helping others along the way.
I am truly moving closer to the oneness with God and Goddess.
I am truly moving closer to oneness with God and Goddess.
And a full release of my inner self.
And full release of my inner higher self.
Okay. You hear that? What's that? Okay. Y'all, as you know, we're navigating, and we are coming from South Carolina. I'm headed back to North Carolina. Had an amazing time. Okay, helping yourself to regain your youthful figure and to look and feel 20 years younger with astral power. I recently read Natalie Wood's secret for staying slim, and she states that she avoids the punishment and reward routine. She seems to feel that people on a diet consider themselves being punished. So after they punish themselves for a while, they go off the diet feeling that they deserve a reward. I conclude from what she said that she went on a diet and then stayed on it. Over the years, you have seen dozens of advertisements claiming that you can regain your youthful figure. After people get wise to the fact that these systems are ripoffs, new ones appear and suckers fall right back in line. Fabulous new lazy ways to trim your hips, flatten your tummy, and get back into shape. Use our 10-minute body cycle. Here is the headline of another ad. Look younger overnight. And still another. How to eliminate those unsightly orange peel bumps and bulges called cellulite. Lose 30 pounds in 120 days with a wine diet. The other day I noticed that a drugstore had all the systems that are supposed to make you feel beautiful in your body and your mind and lined up all of them on one shelf. I lost count after observing 15 attractively boxed systems. Most of them included vitamins, some form of exercise, and a diet. The most unusual reducing system that I noticed stated in bold type that you could regain your youthful figure through sexual intercourse. I assumed that this suggestion was meant for married couples, but suppose only one of the married partners needs to reduce their weight. The system included some pep pills and instructions for prolonging sexual intercourse, no quickies, and increasing the frequency to up to 4 times daily. This might be a good come-on for a popular massage parlor, but we all know that the majority of such places are fronts for prostitution. If word got out that the overweight could be reduced by engaging and enjoying sexual intercourse, I'm sure that their business would pick up. Health spas are popular. Get it all together in a new figure for the spa, reads one ad. They do have fine equipment and their rates are generally reasonable. However, the National Research Council is demolishing the diet and exercise myth. Health departments are closing some of the spas down because of their claims, and they may be fun, but don't accept too much from any health spa program. Astral World sets the standards. I have already told you that all persons in the spirit world look young. There's no one that's overweight or underweight for that matter. There are only one conclusion that you can draw as far as this earth plane is concerned, that they are all supposed to be healthy with youthful figures. Let's take a trip to Tibet. Before I tell you how my magic formula RCC can bring you a youthful figure, let me tell you a little trip away about 3,000 years back in time. During one of my incarnations, I was a Brahmin priest in Tibet. Recently, with the help of Santio, my beautiful Japanese astral helper, I regressed myself back 3,000 years. I wanted to see what I was up to at that time. Mary Jo, who was my wife, during the time I was a Brahmin priest, went also with me. The first article that came to our attention after we arrived at the temple where I carried on my activities was a handwritten book in Sanskrit. In this book were my conceptions of God and the universe from the worn conditions of the first page of this holy book. It was apparent that I had turned it to many, many times. It was a prayer that began with the syllabus that is still used today, but many during this meditation, their meditation period. With my ears may we hear what is good. With my eyes may we behold thy righteousness. Tranquil in body may we who worship thee find rest. Peace, peace, inner sacred peace. Hail to the supreme inner self. I am sure that you will all agree that this prayer is as modern as the day was written. I am certain that you will want to memorize it and use it many times a day. I am certain that you want to, as I did in 3,000 years ago, and I will form this day forward. I discovered that Brahmin priests, through contemplation, saw within themselves the ultimate reality. They believe that God dwells deep within all creatures, hidden from sight. As I continued to read from this holy book, I suddenly became aware of the fact that I was a Brahmin priest. I became aware of the physical self and that my wife, as we were then, I saw a narrow, thin face with high cheekbones, a dark, pointed, light little goatee, and a thin fringe of hair across the upper lip, which traveled downward to each corner of my mouth. A Chinese gentleman, I thought, but no, at the corner of my mouth. A Chinese gentleman, I thought, but no. As the picture becomes clearer, the narrow little black pillbox had the hint of the white that's around his neckline, and what to be appeared as a dark robe were those of a Brahmin priest. My hair was pulled back tightly against my head, in which was probably a braid. My face was aesthetic, kindly, and my eyes were gentle, but the gaze was direct. My frame was small, but there was a feeling of strength flowing from it. Then I looked at Mary Jo, my wife, during this incarnation, and at first, the outline of her face was indistinct. But gradually, it became clear, crystal clear, and I saw before me the face of a beautiful Hindu woman. Her dark skin and hair was piled high on her head, and a small mantle of firmly material covered the top of her head. Her nose was rather large and prominent, but well-shaped. Her lips were full and sexy, and her eyes were so dark and luminous that there was almost like Khadirah. They said Madonna. Her eyes contained the softness and innocence of youth and the maturity of womanhood. They looked out in the world with a direct, honest gaze, and there was just the suggestion of humor there. Her skin was dark, because I didn't say it earlier, so I had to, and petal smooth, with colors around the high cheekbones. Her robe was made of fine white linen, like material trimmed with gold and purple braids. Obviously, the dress of this woman who belonged to the first of 5 great classes of Hindus. I become fully aware of the fact that she was one of the women chosen to become a wife of a Brahmin priest. To become wives of Brahmin priests. Look what this is. I spoke to my wife as we both read. Sit upright, hold the chest, throat, and head erect. Turn the senses and the mind inward to the lotus of the heart. Meditate on the Brahman with the help of the syllabus Om. Cross the fearful currents of the ocean of the worldliness by means of that raft Brahman. With earnest efforts, hold the sense in cheeks, control the breath, Regulate the vital activities. Meditate in a quiet place. As you practice meditation, you will realize that your inner self, your astral body, is separate from your body and not affected by age, disease, or death. The first sign that you are making progress on better health, cleanliness of the complexion, a beautiful voice, an agreeable odor from your body, and freedom from all cravings. As I read these words, I instantly knew where my magic formula, RCC, came from. The ancient indigenous people of the Aboriginals of Tibet. I had used all the elements of the formula 3,000 years ago. I knew that I must read on quickly that Santo would soon want to have me progress rapidly through my many lives up to 1975 and return my astral body back to my physical body. Though all of this progress, a silver cord emitting from my head had spanned the thousands of miles from Michigan to Tibet and back to Michigan. So let's go on. The vast universe is like a wheel. Upon this wheel are all creatures who are subject to birth, death, and rebirth. Round and round it turned and never stopped. It is a wheel of Brahman. As long as creatures think that he is separate from Brahman, he revolves on the wheel and bonds to the laws of birth, death, and rebirth. But when through the grace of Brahman, the person realizes that they have a oneness with God and that they revolve upon the wheel no longer, they achieve oneness with God and Goddess. No God and all fitters will be loosened. Ignorance will vanish. Birth, death, and rebirth will be no more. Meditate upon God and you will transcend physical consciousness. Thus you will reach unions with the Goddess of the universe. Thus you will become identified with him and her who is without a second. In Goddess, all your desires will be found and fulfilled. The truth is that you have always been united with God. But you must know this. There is nothing further else to know, really. You must go back, Santiago spoke gently. There's no more time. Now the reason why he was telling him that is because his silver cord has stretched so many centuries back. And it was becoming strained. He didn't want him to get killed. Let me read a little more from this wonderful book that I know so well 3,000 years ago. Just give me a few more minutes, I pleaded with Santiago. I realize and release the Goddess within you. First, control the outgoing senses and harness the mind that meditates the inner self. It may be revealed behind the physical appearance. Great is the glory of self-luminous being. The inner reality, so you need to control the vital force. Release the inner self by the practice of meditation. Be drunk with the wine of divine love. Brahman is one of God's presence in the north, the east, the south, and the west. He is the creator. He is within all persons as the vital part of the inner self. We must go now, Santiago. Take this precious book with you. As you meditate, it will be available to you mentally. Come, let us hasten back. As we took our leave of Tibet, it was 3,000 years ago. We could not help but notice the healthy, youthful-looking people who made up the entire population. It was then that I fully realized that I, as a Brahmin priest, had put the same elements that made up this magic formula to work. It was very evident that these people lived and loved on more than the purely physical levels of the universe. It was equally true that all of their desires were fulfilled through the release of all-powerful inner self. I saw no poverty, only wealth, health, prosperity. It was Jackie Susan who insisted that I make this trip to Tibet. She felt that I should pinpoint the source of my magic formula. Jackie was not available to me when I developed the formula from the Brahmin melanated priests in Tibet. The 6 chapters of this book. I am pleased that it worked out this way, for I believe that now was the proper time to make this trip. The next subtitle says, Transfiguration Made Easy. The equipment needed to learn more about your past lives is all within your reach. Locate an old box camera that is about 5 inches long, 3 inches thick, and 4 inches high. Make it easy to remove the back of the camera. Install an electronic socket in the middle of the inner back of the camera. Put in a small red light bulb. the kind that is used for photographic dark rooms. Remember the lens, but keep the rim in place so that the red filters can be attached if needed. You are now ready to produce transfiguration. Wow, that's deep. You will need an absolute dark room and at least one other person who can successfully meditate with you. Set your subject next to a wall of a neutral color. Place the box camera with the red light attached about 6 to 8 feet from the subject. Direct the red filter, if needed, to tone down the light to a soft glow. Experiment with this a little to get the light just so. Briefly go into a meditative situation as you observe what is happening. But not you, baby. I see them eyes getting heavy.
No, it's not.
Promise?
Yeah, baby. I'm trying to keep this sweat from getting in my eyes.
You need tissue? Because I know it's hot in here. But my eyes is wide open though.
Yeah, but you get work. Well, yes, you do. Gotcha.
I'm sweating more than you.
I'm sick. But yeah, you need to go.
But it's my glow. It's my little God glow. I want to turn it this way because some people were loving the scenery too. But isn't it so healing? Okay. Okay. So he just got finished telling you how to do a transconfiguration. You'll need an absolutely dark room and at least one other person who can successfully meditate with you. Sit your subject next to you, a wall of neutral color. Place the box or camera with the red light attached about 6 to 8 feet from the subject. Direct the red light on the face, head, and shoulders of the subject. Use a red filter if needed to tone down the light to a soft glow. Experiment with this a little to get the light just so. Briefly go into a meditative situation as you observe what is happening. It may take a little while before you can see your transfiguration. If all goes well, you will soon see the subject's face, head, and shoulders change. The person who appears at the subject's former incarnation with the aid of your astral helper, you may get the transfiguration to slow down or stop with orders so that you can observe them more closely. This whole process is proof of the correctness of the Brahmian teaching that the universe is like a wheel with all persons subject to birth, death, and rebirth until they realize that they have a oneness with God. If you just sit and watch the transfiguration of the subject go by, you will notice that after they have presented the total number of count of times the subject has returned to the earth plane, that they will actually start all over again. The process goes on continuously. Of course, someone else will need to observe your transfiguration and tell you about them. You will need someone who understands and believes what you're doing. The higher you can raise your vibration, the more control you can have over your transfiguration of another person, so that you can stop them or slow them down at any point of a better identification of the time and place of the incarnation. It's very evident that this procedure you can prove incarnation, and that the fact that you are involved in your present life by all of the other lives you have lived. Transfiguration by my method is easy. All it takes is equipment that I have described, a dark room, and one or more, but not more than 4 other people working together to learn more about themselves. You may not get excellent results the first time, but keep trying. It will pay off soon. Word is bond. And this is on page 164. And that deals with the I Ching. Also, too, this can probably be a technique that we can do together September the 22nd weekend. Many children are assumed what are you about to say, baby?
I was going to say, mention the, mention the conference.
Okay. Many children are ashamed of their overweight parents. I have had a number of cases where the children of overweight parents had come to me for helping and getting their parents to do something about their weight problem. The children are literally ashamed of their parents. Susan is this case. Not only were her parents very much overweight, but they did not keep themselves looking their best. This is understandable since dragging 50 to 150 pounds of unnecessary fat around all day is no easy task. Then it's difficult to get proper fitting clothes. The cleanliness problem is equally important. Susan would not bring any of her friends home. And one look at Susan's parents and the boys never dated her again because they felt like that's where she was headed. They assumed that she would eventually be a mountain of flesh just like her parents. Susan brought me a picture of her parents on her wedding day. I had trouble getting her parents to come to see me. They insisted that they had no problems and that there were no need to see a psychologist and that them being over 150 pounds was just fine. I finally got to come in by stating that their daughter had a problem that she could not discuss with her parents. I showed them the picture of themselves on their wedding day. I told them bluntly that their daughter was ashamed of them. I convinced them that they had an obligation to their children and to themselves and to others to look healthy, attractive human beings, not like tubs and lards of fat. They got the point immediately without offering any senseless excuses. The rest was easy. RCC did the trick. Now, if you don't remember, RCC deals with relaxation, concentration, and then the contemplation. Overweight people are literally killing themselves. I once read a book by a medical doctor with a very appropriate title. If you stop killing yourself, you'd be better off. You would think that people would get tired of going around trying to catch their breath. So it's called Stop Killing Yourself. Just the thought of carrying all this excess baggage around should motivate overweight people to do something about it. Another great book is Out of the Womb, Enter the Mind, because it also gives you some powerful affirmations that will help you go inwardly too.
Who's that
by Dr. Alim and Khadirah El-Bey. I have also had quite a large number of adults who have been warned by their doctor concerning their overweight problem. It has been called to their attention that heart and other organs are beginning to slow down, thus why they're having difficulty breathing. Also, too, another quick thing, because a lot of people like to do quick stuff, cayenne pepper will also help too. It will help to dissolve the cholesterol in the veins, the plaque and whatnot, and then it'll also help thin the blood, help with blood circulation. So that's also another idea. I also had quite a large number of adults who had been warned by their doctors concerning their overweight problem. It had been causing their attention to the heart and other organ changes to begin to slow down. How can any intelligent person say to their doctor, no one lives forever, as many people have the audacity to do? Philip is in a case in point. His doctor told him to reduce it or die. He reduced it. His health is not only better, but he has also advanced occupationally and financially. I have even had cases where persons were told to reduce their weight or lose their jobs. Dang, they were going to get fired. It would be interesting to know how many marriages are wrecked by overweight partners. Men should shape up as well as women. It seems that men like their women to be in good form, but men don't seem to realize that they should also keep off excess pounds of flesh. Now that's interesting, because there's a lot of things that men feel like they should be able to do and women can't do. Case in point with Insecure by Issa Rae. They around here being intimate with people because they're unhappy with what their wife is living, how she doing. But when she did the same thing, they dang on trying to doggone chastise the girl in Constance. Okay, the next subtitle is Men Should Shape Us as Well as Women. It seems that men like their women to be in good form, but men do not realize that they should also keep off excess pounds of flesh. I often wonder why good-looking, shapely women put up with fat, sloppy men, and some of them don't. Joyce insisted that her husband shape up or ship out. He tried several reducing methods to no avail. He likes to eat. John finally came to me and reluctantly started my program of no dieting and no special exercise. Mental action images did the job, reducing him about 5 pounds a week until he... I don't know if it's recording because it's getting so hot. Let me cool off the computer.
in ourselves?
And ourselves. This computer is burning up. If you can hear me, those are what our pine trees look like. Because I noticed, like in New York, not in New York, but in Florida and in Ohio, our pine trees look different. They have, especially in Ohio, they had a lot of blue spruces, and then in Florida, they just had a lot of palm trees and a lot of everything. But these are what our pine trees look like. Isn't this so healing? So I always take a deep breath, breathing in this abundance, breathing in that green of prosperity and healing, and breathing out the toxics that we receive on a daily basis. Again, breathing in the love and light and beauty of green. And breathing out all that which is opposite. Ooh, that's a pretty one. Ooh, those are too. Seems like it got brighter and prettier. But I'm almost finished. I only have one page and a half. Thank you. Okay, I'm finishing up real quick. I hope that by now you have learned how to take trips into your astral world. As I mentioned earlier in this chapter, you will discover that all spirits are beautiful. All look about 30 years of age, except the children, all those who wish to look older. They look healthy, without a pound of excess flesh. Those who were living on the earth plane are now shapely also. That's deep. But why wait until you get on the spirit side of life? My system will not give you a new arm or leg, but it will put you into a good physical body shape. Skinny ones can also shape you. Nancy came to me certain that her lack of feminine curves was keeping men out of her life. She didn't want love and marriage. She did want love and marriage. Sorry. She wanted love and marriage, and I could have told her things about her personality that did not attract men. But she did have a point as far as her shape was concerned. She had always been skinny with the form more like a boy than a girl. I cannot use the mental action images techniques right away. I had an artist come in during one of her appointments. He sketched a picture of her and came back several days later with the painting of Nancy and how she could look with a little more flesh, some more voluptuous breasts, and some more shapely legs. She used the painting to form a mental action image of herself and applying my formula. Nancy is now a very attractive woman and wife, soon to be mother. Her astral helpers also changed her personality a bit. Always remember, mental action image work their way into reality. People who get anywhere on this earth plane concentrate on what they want. They form many mental action images, and through my formula, these images become reality. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Thomas Edison said, after he stole it from Lewis Lattimore, "Let that nigga bring me light through the use of electricity." And Lewis Lattimore did. And this came into being through the light bulb. Every millionaire once said, "I'm going to be a millionaire." And so $1 million in the bank became a reality. We are going to be billionaires. We got too much work to do. And so it will be in the bank a reality. A sick person says, "Let my body be healed. Let everybody's bodies be healed." And it is. Fatty says, "I'm losing 100 pounds of unwanted flesh." And the mental action image of myself, without this excess baggage, became a reality. Which that's true. Because we was fatty bags and we got skinny. God, Goddess, through our astral helpers, make it easy for us to eat properly. Charge our bodies with the external force and fill our minds with spiritual powers. Eternal youth of body and mind, abide in us forever. Hail to the inner superior self. All right, peace, love, and happiness. See y'all September the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. let it cool off so I can cut it off. I don't know what that is. Now exit 1.